Mountains are fascinating, yet a lot of tragedies occur during mountain climbing. Mountains inspire people to test their limits of endurance. At the same time, they can be a site of some eerie tales. Today, we count down the top 4 creepy tales about some of the world's best known mountains. Number 4. Queensland Black Mountain. The Black Mountain in Queensland is less of a natural beauty by visitors' standards than it is an eerie collection of massive dark boulders that seem to harbour sinister secrets. The mountain was formed from magma millions of years ago and has algae covering it in large parts. Some say the mountain looks as though hellfire has gone over it, leading to tales of otherworldly screams emanating from its underground cavities. Naturally, having a terrible stench reaching up from the bowels of the mountain has only increased the number of spooky stories surrounding it. Aboriginal folk tell many eerie stories, including that of a wicked man called the Eater of Flesh who roams the Black Mountain. The story goes that a medicine man developed a taste for human flesh. After killing and eating an Aboriginal chief, the man was chased off and banished into the mountains. This did not deter the wicked man from devouring people of his own tribe. Eventually, he could no longer escape the wrath of people when he surfaced from his hiding place. He turned himself into an Australian monitor lizard to try and avoid being killed. However, as karma would have it, he was struck by lightning and exploded into a heap of charred boulders, which is how the Black Mountain came to be. Other terrible tales have it that ghosts roam the mountain, and those who do not ignore the warnings and insist on approaching it will be dragged into cavities by ghostly, outstretched hands. These ghosts are thought to be the spirits of the Aboriginal people who were murdered by the European settlers. To this day, Aborigines refuse to go near the place they call Kalkajaka. Number 3. Headless Annie. A horrific tale from Kentucky has it that a miner in the 1930s was leading a unionization effort near Black Mountain. The miner successfully convinced his fellow workers to stand up to the unfair treatment they were receiving and the terrible conditions they had to work in. Sadly, he was punished for this by having high-up employees of the company abducting, raping, and decapitating his wife and child in front of him. When they finished their horrific deeds, they simply threw the severed heads and bodies off a ravine while laughing in the miner's face, telling him that this was a consequence of him trying to stand up to them. They proceeded to hack off the man's legs, string him up in a tree, and leave him to bleed to death. The aftermath of this horror led to the ghostly tale of Headless Annie, who is thought to be the spectre of the miner's daughter haunting Black Mountain. She runs out in front of cars, scaring drivers and passengers witless when they set upon her headless see-through form. She is said to wear a white nightdress, trying to flag down passing cars. If she has no luck, she simply appears in the back seat, imploring drivers to stop and help her. Number 2. Mount Everest. The Sherpa people residing high up in the Himalayas in Nepal are highly regarded and valued as expert mountaineers, having served as guides to climbers for many years, especially to those who wish to climb Mount Everest. Living mostly in obscurity, the lives of the Sherpa people were thrust into the spotlight in 2014 when an avalanche on Everest caused the lives of 16 guides, most of whom were Sherpas. Following this tragedy, some Sherpa guides refused to continue working on the mountain. However, long before the Everest horror of 2014, a Sherpa claiming to have broken the ascent record on Mount Everest shared another dark tale when he returned from the famous mountain in 2004. He claimed to have run into dark shadows that approached him with outstretched arms, begging him for food. Speaking to AFP, Pemba Dorji Sherpa claimed to have seen many bodies as he was nearing the summit, including one still hanging from a rope after falling. He believed the black shadows that approached him were the ghosts of those climbers. The president of the Nepal Mountaineering Association, Ang Shering Sherpa, affirmed to AFP that his people believed in spirits and performed death rituals if they happened to come across bodies. Number 1. Albino Cannibals. The movie The Hills Have Eyes may have drawn its inspiration from Ghost Mountain, or its real name, Haycock Mountain in Pennsylvania. It is thought that a clan of albino cannibals live in the woods up in this mountain and feast on the flesh of those unfortunate enough to get lost there. Naturally, most take the albino cannibal tale with a pinch of salt, but that has not deterred the stories from getting a little out of hand. These cannibals are said to be inbreds, and even the evidence of their feeding habits has not convinced local authorities to investigate the murders or venture into the woods to the mountain residence of the alleged killers. Legend has it that cannibals hide in a windowless house built entirely of concrete. They hide in the trees like animals and fall from them onto people who hike up the mountain trails. The story of albino cannibals is not limited to mountain residences only. Tales also abound of a similar family of albinos that live in a red house on Buckout Road in Westchester, New York. Supposedly, they will come out and pounce on you if you dare to honk your car horn 3 times while parked in front of their dwelling. So that's it for today's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and make sure to tune in again tomorrow for another brand new episode.